Here we go again. Rounds of showers and thunderstorms taking aim at central and eastern Kentucky. I'm tracking the potential for high water just ahead.
A Montgomery County man pleaded guilty to manslaughter for hitting another man with his pickup truck.
Police are searching for a man and a woman who shot a man outside a strip club in Lexington.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 4:30.
And good afternoon. Sam, Dick, and Amber Philpott reporting. Showers and storms are ramping up in the bluegrass this afternoon.
And this could cause more flooding problems for areas that are still trying to recover from last week's heavy rain. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
Yeah, watching these thunderstorms that are borderline severe from the Louisville area and west, but it's the same cluster of thunderstorms that could bring a renewed high water threat to parts of especially the I-64 corridor over the next several hours. Severe thunderstorm watches out to our west, E-Town and Louisville included in that. Here's what Live First Alert Defender is saying. Nasty little complex of thunderstorms from Louisville back to the west. Out ahead of that, starting to see now additional thunderstorms that are going up here on Defender. A little clustering of some storms south of the Bardstown area, Lebanon into Marion County and southern parts of Washington County. That extends over into sections now of Perryville, Boyle County, and to the north of that little thunderstorm complex is trying to creep its way a little farther to the north up the Bluegrass Parkway through the Salvisa area. And again, that is right on top of Anderson County, southern sections of Lawrenceburg very shortly. Look at the thunder and the lightning north of Louisville. That is aimed from Newcastle towards sections of the Henry County area, Owen County, and eventually I think that gets into the Lexington Metro coming up in a couple of hours. So that's what we have to look forward to, or not look forward to, but that's a nasty complex of storms that goes all the way back to the west, contains a ton of lightning with that, and everything that is out there continues to roll its way on toward the east. So some of the computer models continue to ramp up those rainfall totals over the next couple of days. Guys, not out of the realm of possibility. Some areas could pick up local amounts of greater than 1 to 2 inches over the next several hours, hence the potential for, at least on a small scale, some additional high water issues.
Chris, thank you. Emergency management officials in Madison County are asking for reports of damage from flooding.
And they want those affected by last week's storms to send in pictures so they can apply to get federal money to help with the cleanup. Our Sean Moody has the latest on the flooding aftermath. It's our top story at 4:30.
This is the first time the Madison County Emergency Management Agency has tried this approach. They're hoping using social media will help get their damage assessments in quicker.
It was a mess across Madison County early Friday.
Anywhere from 4 or 5 up to 6 inches of rain in some locations.
EMA Director Carl Richards says there's damage all over the county, and the agency has to turn in reports to the state by Thursday in order to request state and federal help.
Well, that only gave you a couple days to collect data, which isn't very long. And if you're going to do it all by driving around, you're probably not going to get all of it.
He wanted to find a way to quickly narrow the agency's focus. Last night, the agency posted this request on Facebook. They want the public to send in pictures of the damage.
Collecting data, vetting the data, and determining how many people were impacted and where were they impacted and what's the overall significance of that impact to them.
If enough people have flood damage, they'll qualify for some assistance program.
Low interest loans, there are some grant programs available. It just depends on what thresholds we get to, how big is the damage and widespread is the damage.
Pictures are just starting to come in, but Richard says that post is spreading quickly.
That's almost 4,000 contacts in a matter of just a few hours, so that's pretty awesome.
The agency is looking for pictures of damage to buildings by the flood, not necessarily pictures of fields or yards covered by water. In Madison County, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Richard said that Red House Road was one of the hardest hit areas. The official field running to be the 2016 Republican nominee for president doubled today when Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky declared he is in.
Adriana Diaz is in Louisville, where the Kentucky senator made his announcement.
Rand Paul says Washington is broken and it's going to take an outsider to fix it.
I am putting myself forward as a candidate for president of the United States of America.
The first-term Republican senator from Kentucky launched his White House bid with a rally focused on themes that made him a Tea Party favorite: liberty and limited government.
The Washington machine that gobbles up our freedoms and invades every nook and cranny of our lives must be stopped.
While Paul's anti-establishment message appeals to a corner of the Republican Party, he's looking to expand that base to win the GOP nomination.
Many Republicans don't like talking about the issues that he's talked about because they're fearful of getting voted off the island.
Paul, an eye surgeon by trade, faces a crowded Republican field, with fellow Senator Ted Cruz already announced, Senator Marco Rubio, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker, former Florida Governor Jeb Bush, and others likely to jump in soon.
Too often, when Republicans have won, we've squandered our victory by becoming part of the Washington machine. That's not who I am.
Paul's father, former presidential candidate Ron Paul, joined his son for Tuesday's kickoff. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Louisville, Kentucky.
Senator Paul will begin campaigning immediately. He is scheduled to visit early voting states the next 4 days, starting tomorrow in New Hampshire.
A man admits to his role in a deadly crash. Joseph Julian pled guilty to manslaughter in a Montgomery County courtroom today. Police say that he ran over David Ballard with his truck in 2012, pinning Ballard against a wall and killing him. Our Sam Smith has details now from court.
Before the judge handed out the sentence, David Ballard's mother got a chance to speak. Naomi Ballard Wingard looked into the eyes of Joseph Julian and said what any mother would say to the man that killed her son. Julian pleaded guilty to manslaughter as part of a plea agreement. He was dealt an 8-year sentence for Ballard's death. Also, his driver's license was revoked for 60 months for DUI. Ballard was killed in 2012 when a pickup truck driven by Julian hit him and pinned him against a wall. Julian says that was an accident. He says he thought his truck was in reverse. Judge Beth Lewis Mays says there wasn't enough evidence at the crime scene to prove if Julian did it on purpose or if it was an accident. And that's why the 8-year sentence was agreed on.
I think he should have got 20 years for murder. That's what I feel, and that's what I think.
Now, Julian has been in jail on these charges for more than 1,000 days. He'll get credit for that time served. In Montgomery County, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Now, Ballard was a Jeffersonville city commissioner and owned a barber shop in Mount Sterling. The search continues this afternoon for a couple who opened fire outside a Lexington strip club overnight.
It happened around 2:40 this morning at Camelot West on Alexandria Drive. Police say one man was shot in the back. 2 cars in a building were also hit. WKYT's Mark Barber has reaction from the club's manager, who says he's trying to make the neighborhood more safe.
Police say a man, 2 vehicles, and a building were all struck by bullets when a man and a woman pulled up in a white Cadillac and opened fire outside the strip club. Officers tell us they shot a man in the back. He was taken to UK hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. According to police, the shooters, a woman and a man, opened fire outside the strip club around 2:40 this morning. This is not the first shooting outside Camelot West. Back in 2010, a man was shot to death, and in 2013, a security guard was shot in the leg. The manager of the Alexandria Drive Club says they increased security after those shootings, but he tells us they couldn't plan for what happened this morning.
We use metal detectors. We go through all the precautions to make sure nothing bad happens inside the building, nothing at all. And then as I lock the door, turn around and walk away, I hear gunshots.
Christy Welbers lives nearby. While she didn't hear the gunfire, she says she is going to start locking her doors.
I used to live that lifestyle, and I don't do it anymore. And thanks to God that I don't do that today, because He changed me. I don't know, I just pray for people like that. You know, because when people hurt people, it's because they're hurting inside.
Police are now asking the public to help them find the shooters. They're hoping someone with information will send in a tip that will lead to their arrest. In Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Investigators tell us they are still trying to figure out why the shooters opened fire outside the club. Hundreds of students at Eastern Kentucky University in Richmond were evacuated from their residence hall overnight. A sprinkler malfunctioned in a room at Clay Hall around 1:30 this morning. Water got onto that floor and 3 lower levels. A facilities worker says it was mostly clothes that got wet. Some ceiling tiles will need to be replaced.
Kentucky's hemp production is taking root as pilot projects expand into a second year. The state's agriculture department says this spring planting season is expected to include several hundred acres of hemp. Statewide, hemp plantings totaled about 36 acres last year. More than 100 farmers and processors are expected to take part in the next round of projects. This weekend, you can support feeding hungry Kentuckians by running or walking.
Our Deanne Stevens is out and about with a preview of the Nutrition Fuels Fitness 5K. Hi, Deanne.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. They are prepared for a big weekend this weekend at Coldstream Park, where they're hoping the rain won't be come Saturday, because it kind of ruined our plans to be out there running and walking today. To preview the event for you, we have Maggie Murphy with us, and Maggie is with CAN. And you guys, this is an inaugural event for you all.
Yes, this is our first annual Nutrition Fuels Fitness 5K, and I represent CAN, which is Kentucky Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. We represent dietitians statewide, and we are hoping to raise awareness of not only the hunger across our state, but also the role the dietitian plays in promoting sound nutrition as well as activity.
So how much is it to be a part of the race, and where's that money going?
So it is $25 per participant, and that money is going to benefit God's Pantry as well as the Big Blue Pantry, which is a food bank at the University of Kentucky.
Why is a day like this important?
A day like this is important because it brings the community together to not only give back to the community with the good work that God's Pantry and Big Blue Pantry do, but also to promote the role of sound nutrition and have the community be more aware of what dietitians do.
It is called Nutrition Fuels Fitness, and if you're interested in the 5K or the fun run, which kicks off at 8:30, you can Google Nutrition Fuels Fitness. It'll take you to a link. Rebecca Wallace is with God's Pantry, and this is a great event for you guys to be involved with.
Yes, it is. We're really excited. This is our first time to partnership with CAN, and it's great because not only is it a 5K, which is for people who really like to get out there and run, but it's also a family fun run. So there's a 1 mile fun run at 8:30 that morning before the 5K starts.
All right, it is all happening at Coldstream Park. Again, you can Google Nutrition Fuels Fitness to get registered, or you can just show up Saturday morning at Coldstream Park. I'm Deanne Stevens, out and about. Back to you guys.
Deanne, thank you. Ricky Gervais is popping up on Netflix, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus drops the Vice in season 4 of Veep.
Suzanne Marquez has your eye on entertainment.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus is back in Veep. Season 4 of the HBO series begins where season 3 left off, with the former Veep now serving as president. At the season premiere in New York, Louis-Dreyfus said her character has to finish out a term as president while trying to campaign for the job outright.
It's a nightmare because it's like 2 huge full-time jobs in a very, very foreshortened period of time. So good luck to her. It's not going to work out that great.
The son of Clint Eastwood is starring as a bull-riding cowboy in the new film The Longest Ride. Scott Eastwood plays Luke, who falls in love with a college student attending one of his rodeos. Did you have any close calls?
Yeah, the bull almost stepped on my face when I bucked one.
The Longest Ride opens Friday. Netflix has acquired the British Funny Man's comedy Special Correspondence. Gervais wrote and directed the film, starring Eric Bana as a journalist who files fake war reports. It will premiere next year. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Suzanne Marquez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Kentucky native and Dukes of Hazzard actor James Best has died.
Best played Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane on the Dukes of Hazzard. He was born in Powderly, Kentucky in Muhlenberg County. His acting career started in the 1950s. He appeared in several movies and TV shows, including The Andy Griffith Show, before landing his best-known role on the Dukes of Hazzard. His website says he died of complications from pneumonia. Best was 88 years old. Kentucky native Diane Sawyer and Olympian Bruce Jenner have a date in prime time. The 2-hour special expected to be Jenner's official announcement to the world that he's undergoing a transition from man to woman. ABC News is also describing the interview, which will air on April 24th, as far-ranging. Last month, we learned that Jenner will no longer be part of the cast of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Instead, he will chronicle his transition in a new docuseries on the E! Network.
Star Wars is coming to a streaming service near you. After months of negotiation, Disney and 20th Century Fox say they have reached a deal, which means that starting Friday, fans can download all 6 movies legally from Amazon, Google Play, iTunes, and other distributors. A bunny tackles 2 presidents, a home run tweet, or a strikeout, and an unusual divorce method. It's the video that will have you talking. Take a look at this.
That pesky Easter bunny caused all kinds of problems at a Washington Nationals ballpark tradition on opening day. The bunny took down 2 presidents during the mascot race. It came out of nowhere to pummel George Washington. Then Teddy Roosevelt bore the brunt of the bunny's wrath. William Howard Taft, though, escaped unscathed to win the race uncontested. What a thing this was. No word on what prompted the bunny's outburst. He may have overloaded on leftover candy. Hope that was entertaining.
Gotta watch the Easter Bunny. All right, was it a social media snafu or brilliant marketing? Hostess tweeted this opening day photo of a cupcake with the words touchdown. The tweet went viral and thousands of users quickly chimed in asking why it didn't read home run. Hostess claims the touchdown line was intentional.
And courts always try to keep up with the latest technology, electronic databases, recorders in the courtrooms, and even teleconferencing. Well, one New York judge has pushed the boundaries even further. He says he's letting a woman file for divorce over Facebook. The ruling was made in the City Court of New York. The woman's lawyer says she will send a message once a week for 3 weeks in a row to her, quote, hard-to-find husband. The soon-to-be ex-wife has reportedly only been in touch with her husband over the phone and Facebook since they got married, which would probably lead to problems if that's all you're doing to communicate with your other partner there.
Doesn't surprise